Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Hey guys, today we're going to start doing some inspection on my metal planer, which we disassembled in a recent video. And this is a project we're going to be working on restoring here pretty soon. Actually, we're starting on it right now. And first thing I want to do is try to get an idea of what kind of wear I've got in these machine parts on the ways on the machine, to get an idea of a game plan on restoring this and deciding what we need to do to actually work on these ways. So let me zoom you in here, show you what we got, do some measuring, and decide what we need to do. So anyway, I'll get you in here, we can see what's going on. Well, what you're looking at here is the underside of the table that goes on this metal planer. So this table runs in two V-ways, and again, these are going up. Normally they'd be going down, and they fit into a matching set of V-ways. There's two of these ways, one on each side, and that's what basically the table does. It just goes back and forth in these ways. The bed is a good bit longer than the tabletop, so that you got room for it to move on both sides. This table is about 8 foot long. I think it's just a tad over 8 feet long. And then the bed that it rides on is a little over 12 feet long. So when I come in here, and this is a really good example of what to look at anytime you're examining a machine and trying to determine what kind of wear is taking place on it. And what you want to look for is you want to look for surfaces that you can measure off of that are original surfaces, original machine surfaces. In other words, not wear surfaces. And I'm looking at this right here. If you look, you can see that there's definitely an area in here that has worn down. Now, what has happened is there's down here in this bottom, in the bed over there's actually a little notch that's cut out in the bottom. It doesn't just go down to a straight corner. There's a notch down there so that as this wears, it actually will go down inside of that. And that's exactly what's happened. There's a ridge on the top here. This surface on the top, it's pretty much original. Arguably, there could be a small amount of wear to it, but it's minimal. And the other thing that you'll see is there's another ridge right here. So this surface was originally machined flat across here, but over time, with this machine rubbing back and forth on those ways, it has worn down into the metal, and we got two ridges here. So this area back here and this area up here, particularly this area back here, is an original surface, or pretty darn close to it, whereas this is a worn surface. So what I'm going to do is just come in here, we're going to be measuring, and I've got a depth micrometer. I'm going to go across these, and I'm going to do a measurement at the top and the bottom and kind of get an idea. So I'm kind of right down there on that lip. Hold that down nice and pull it up. And what we got is about 20, we'll just call it 21 thousandths. So I'm just gonna write 21 right there. And then I'm gonna come to the top and I'm gonna do the same thing. And on the top, we have 19 thousandths. Now, on this top surface, I think that we may not be getting as true of a reading as we do on the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go around this whole planer, and every probably, 6 to 12 inches, I'm going to measure it, and I'm going to map it out and just write on here what those measurements are. And then from that, we can kind of get an idea of what kind of wear is on here and how evenly this is worn. 21 thousandths, 19 thousandths. That's fairly significant wear. So I see on this side over here, at the bottom, hand's probably in the way. Let's see what we got. So that's going to be 23 thousandths on this side. And then at the top, I realize my hand's in the way, I'm sorry. That's going to be about 16 thousandths. So I'm going to do that all the way around and bring you guys back. All right, this has been an interesting little exercise, and I got a much better idea now of what kind of wear we're looking at here. So I'm just going to kind of walk around. As I went to measuring these, I realized that this top measurement was not really real accurate. It was varying a lot, and I think it just has to do with the wear on it. However, down at the bottom, there's clearly a very nice ridge to measure off of. So I think that's where I'm just going to look at, is the measurements on the bottom. And I'm just going to walk around and kind of tell you what they are. These are all in thousandths of an inch. So we got 21 and 23, 17, 18, 12, 12, 8, 8. So it's more wear on the end. As you get toward the center, 4 and 5, 7, 7, 7, 10, 13, 13, 21, 18. So again, the ends appear to be worn more than the middle. And on this side over here, we got 17, 19, 12, 9, 4, 3, 5, 4, 3, 3, 9, 7, 10, 10, and 13, 18. So very clearly, what's happened on this planer is that the ends have worn more than the middle. And it probably just has to do with the fact that when this planer is going, what happens is the bed or the table actually travels a little bit off of the end of the bed on either end. So, and then it comes back on, and when it is, it's probably dragging a little bit more on the ends. And over all these years, it has worn a little bit more on the ends. Again, we're not talking about huge numbers, but it's fairly significant numbers. And it's a little bit concerning. You know, if I wanted to just go put this thing back together, I would realize we've got that kind of variation just right off the bat that we're dealing with. Now, in reality, if we were to plane the top on the machine, the variation on the other side, it would probably do some compensating, but still it's far from perfect. So this is telling me that, as far as how we're going to go about fixing this, yeah, we could just come in here. This is all cast iron. We could just scrape the whole bottom. But, we've got 21 thousandths, 25 thousandths on these ends that are out, which means that the middle part's going to have to go down that far just to clean up. So, the rule of thumb on scraping is if you got more than a couple of thousandths that need to come off, it really is a candidate for doing a machining operation and then scraping it. So again, it's leaning me more towards what we really need to do is get this thing sent off and ground where it's, we're starting with good surfaces on either end. Now, as far as the bed, let's go over there and look at that. So down here on the bed, it's a little bit more complicated to try to figure out what's going on because the ways here, you see they're the opposite of what we have over there. And I took this out and pressure washed it the other day trying to get the grease off of it. So I got a little bit of flash rust on it. I'm not worried about that right now. It'll wipe right off, but that's what you're looking at here. But as far as measuring the wear on this side, it's a little bit more complicated because I really don't have an original surface to measure off of on this side. So, I'm gonna have to do some guesswork. Now, I could come in here with my Kingway tool and lay it across both sides and using the level make some assumptions, and I may do that. It's gonna take a little bit of setup. I need to get it level and everything first. Probably do that after I do some more cleaning on this part. But I'm going to assume that we have similar wear over here. And I'm going to assume that the ends are probably worn more than the middle, which is kind of opposite of what you would think. But it just has to do with the fact that that table is going out and you got more weight on that end down there once that table extends off of either end when it's on a full stroke. But I think, again, my game plan is going to be send this off and have both sides ground. There's some fairly significant scoring on these ways on this side over here, and I'd really like to get that out as well. You can kind of see over here that scoring I'm talking about in there, and that's probably just somewhere some chips and trash have got caught up underneath that planer bed where we didn't have good wipers on the end, and it scratched it up pretty bad. And again, I really want to get that out, most of that out anyway, and get everything trued back up. There's some other areas in here that we could measure off if we wanted to. This surface here is actually where the gears bolt down to, that the bull gear drives back and forth. I took those gears off. This is an original plain surface. I can still see the planer marks in it. You know, those gears have been on here since this machine was built. So this is a non-wear surface. So, you know, this is something that I could come in here with an indicator maybe off of this and do some further testing if I wanted to. But that's the whole thing I really wanted to kind of get across on this video, was when you're inspecting a machine and looking for wear, you know, look for an unworn surface that you can measure to and reference off of. And there's a million ways you can do this, and you really have to sometimes get creative. You know, we've got a machine surface right here on this bottom edge. This side here is where a little dog that trips the lever to set the stroke length fits on. So while arguably there could be a small amount of wear in here, this isn't like something that was just constantly rubbing all the time. So I've got a flat surface here I could measure off of. I've got a vertical surface here that I could measure off of. So, you know, we could do measurements from, you know, one side to the other, come in here with some type of jig and measure off of sides of ways. There's lots of different ways you can do. You just have to get creative to do that. But bottom line, I can tell from looking at this that it has excessive wear. And to get this machine back in tip-top shape, we're going to probably need to have some work done to it. And I'm prepared to do that. I've still got to get up with my grinding guy and talk to him about getting this job done. But right now, anyway, unless I get a really big sticker shock, you know, that's just more than what I'm anticipating. When I'm anticipating it costing me a fair amount, but I want to do it right. So that's what we're looking at doing. We'll keep you in the loop as that develops and we decide what to do. But I just wanted to kind of give you a quick idea of what kind of wear we got, and also some ideas on how you can check machines for wear. Pretty quick video today, but that's all we got. So with that, it's going to be a wrap. Thanks, guys, for watching. As always, please leave comments if you like, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.